The scene shifts to a fairground where father and son stunt team Barton Blaze and Johnny are entertaining the crowd on ramps. As his girlfriend Roxanne Simpson. Roxanne informs Johnny that her father is sending her away when they cross paths later that day under a tree. Johnny makes the decision to get ready so they may both flee. When Johnny returns home, his father is still holding a piece of paper and is sleeping. The report comes from a doctor, and the bad news is that he has been identified as having terminal cancer. Crushed, Johnny rides his motorbike to work. Mephistopheles approaches Johnny and asks if he'll ever ride for him. Mephistopheles brings up Barton's condition and offers to assist. In response to Johnny's question, Mephistopheles responds, "Your soul." Johnny replies, "Okay," assuming the man is nuts or being sarcastic. When Johnny receives a contract from Mephistopheles, he accidentally wounds himself while opening it. This blood drop is accepted as the proper signature by Mephistopheles. In the same bed with Barton, Johnny awakens energized and upbeat. Barton admits to Johnny that despite feeling healthy as a horse, he had previously been ill. Johnny is speechless. The next day during the performance, Barton tries a brand new stunt jumping through a ring of fire but fails and crashes. Johnny sobs as he sees his father suffer amid Mephistopheles' menacing laughter. We quickly advance to a decade later. Johnny is the most well-known daredevil in the world. At a packed stadium, he is attempting a brand new feat by leaping over a line of parked semi-trucks. Johnny sucks. Mac and the team watch a television commercial promoting Johnny's upcoming stunt, which will take place in his birthplace. Johnny will try to leap over 50 automobiles and clear a football field's worth of distance, 300 feet. Blackheart, another mysterious black person, shows up at a Hells Angels club in the middle of the desert. He then uses a single touch to murder almost all of the group. Blackheart is accosted by the elemental spirits Gressel, Earth, Wallow, Water, and Avigor, Wind, back at the Hells Angels Tavern, and enlists their assistance in locating the contract of San Venganza. The spirits concur despite their fear of Mephistopheles, a name that angers Blackheart. When a reporter approaches Johnny for an interview, he is preparing for his upcoming prank. He is shocked to see Roxanne, an old flame. 6 Black Hawk helicopters then drop into the stadium as the stadium roof opens after Johnny says he had another idea to add in. When Johnny approaches Roxanne in her news van, they are traveling on the freeway. To convince the vehicle to stop so he may talk to Roxanne, Johnny pulls a few tricks. Roxanne gives in and asks Johnny to meet her later that evening in the hotel's restaurant. Johnny realizes his hands are blazing brilliant red as he gets ready for his date with Roxanne. As he washes them, he notices that his hands are emitting steam. When Johnny enters the lane, a brand new motorbike is waiting for him, fired up and ready to go. The appearance of Mephistopheles indicates that he has chosen to use Johnny's services. Mephistopheles reveals that he has been maintaining Johnny's life for the duration of this period in order for this day to arrive. Johnny is forced to get on the new bike by Mephistopheles, who then sends him off to find Blackheart with the promise of returning Johnny's soul if he succeeds. The speed at which Johnny's new bike takes off leaves a path of fire and devastation throughout the town. When Johnny finally arrives, he thrashes in pain and gets off the bike. As Johnny roars in anguish and terrible desire, fire shoots from his hands and feet. Finally, a skeleton skull is revealed when his head erupts in flames. The replacement for the Ghost Rider is Johnny Blaze. Whistling causes Ghost Rider to ride up on his motorcycle. When he taps the gas cap, the motorbike changes into a fiery thing with a skull and chain that resembles the Ghost Rider. He sees a young woman being robbed as he travels through the town. The robber stabs him, but the knife just melts off in Ghost Rider's body as he grips him. The assailant is told by Ghost Rider to look into my eyes. The mugger screams in despair as his regrets over previous misdeeds resurface. Ghost Rider throws the robber aside after the agony is through. After finishing his drive through the town on the outskirts, Ghost Rider is clearly getting weaker due to the approaching morning. He finally turns back into Johnny Blaze slowly and painfully in a cemetery. At his father Barton's tombstone, Johnny passes out. Reporting on the mayhem in town, Roxanne vents her resentment at Johnny for putting her down. During their inquiry, the police come across a license plate that belonged to one of Johnny Blaze's motorcycles. The caretaker finds Johnny and offers to assist. Johnny first objects, then changes his mind. According to the caretaker, the Ghost Rider is essentially the devil's bounty hunter, who is tasked with pursuing everyone who attempts to flee hell. Additionally, the Ghost Rider only shows up at night or when evil is present. When Johnny recalls what he did to the mugger, the caretaker reveals that the penance stare was the Ghost Rider's most potent weapon. Anyone who experiences it will feel the sorrow of each sin they have committed. The caretaker tells the tale of the last Ghost Rider and the spirits of the people of San Venganza. He also makes it known that the hidden Johnny examines the destruction left by the incidents from yesterday night. He runs into Roxanne, who is furious with him. After returning to his flat, Johnny conducts some study on fire elements and shows some meager control over his newly acquired abilities. When Roxanne comes, he is questioned about Johnny. Roxanne rejects Johnny's explanation that he sold his soul to the devil and became a bounty hunter, believing instead that he is either lying to keep her away or has gone mad. Roxanne then thinks that Johnny should be honest with her. When Johnny steps outside, the cops arrest him, believing he is guilty for the previous night's killings, revealing microscopic spikes in the metal plating. Ghost Rider continues to burn the cage bars and exits. Blackheart is seen at St. Michael's Church, questioning the clergy about the San Venganza contract. When Blackheart learns that Ghost Rider is back in action, he dispatches Abigor to deal with him. The officers rapidly pursue him, ultimately catching up with him in a dead-end alley. Ghost Rider just tilts his bike and rides right up the building, fires Ghost Rider to light a chain and whirl it, creating a cyclone that drags Abigor in. The wind spirit is annihilated after a few minutes of resistance. Ghost Rider constructs a wall of flame and flees to the graveyard. The caretaker concludes the account of the contract of San Venganza by informing Johnny about the previous Ghost Rider, Carter Slade, a former Texas Ranger. To preserve his life, Slade grew corrupt and struck a bargain with Mephistopheles. Carter Slade seized the contract and concealed it when he realized what was going on in San Venganza. The caretaker proposes that Carter was buried with it. Roxanne visits Johnny's residence and meets Mac. Mac mentions Johnny's strange recent hobbies, and Roxanne proceeds to read some of Johnny's books. She is now certain that what Johnny told her was correct. Blackheart arrives out of nowhere and murders Mac. Johnny returns to discover Mac murdered and Blackheart imprisoning Roxanne. He turns into Ghost Rider and tries the penance stare on Blackheart. He simply chuckles, claiming that the penance stare will have no effect on him because he lacks soul. Blackheart offers to release Roxanne provided Johnny gives him the contract by the San Venganza. Johnny returns to the cemetery, intending to excavate the entire site if necessary. The caretaker shatters the handle of his shovel, revealing a rolled-up paper. It is the agreement. Johnny chooses to grab it and battle Blackheart one last time. The caretaker gives in, reasoning that Johnny's circumstances make him unpredictable and that he may have an edge. The caretaker whistles, causing a mystery horse to appear from the shadows. He ascends and explodes into flames. The caretaker reveals that he is the former Ghost Rider, Carter Slade. Both riders depart for San Venganza. Carter drives Johnny to San Venganza before collapsing. Carter reveals that the journey has depleted the remainder of his Ghost Rider abilities. Carter hands Johnny a shotgun and rides out into the sunset, ready to face the consequences of his deeds. Wallow, the soul remaining hidden, ambushes Johnny as he rides into San Venganza. Wallow drags Johnny below in an attempt to drown him. Johnny responds by changing into Ghost Rider and superheating the water, causing Wallow to evaporate. Blackheart arrives in detention with Roxanne. As Johnny passes over the contract, he lets Roxanne leave. Johnny turns into Ghost Rider and assaults Blackheart before he can accept the contract. Blackheart repels Ghost Rider's assaults and reads the contract, summoning the souls of the town to join him. The spirits emerge and join Blackheart, who declares, "My name is Legion, for we are numerous." Roxanne uses Carter Slade's shotgun to fight Legion. It injures him but has little effect on his progress. Johnny seizes the shotgun and imbues it with his Ghost Rider abilities, transforming it into a Hellfire weapon. Legion is disintegrated by the blast, but he quickly reforms. Johnny understands Legion has locked all 1,000 souls from San Venganza within him, making him vulnerable to Ghost Rider's most powerful weapon. He changes once more into Ghost Rider and confines Legion long enough to utilize the penance stare. Legion cries in anguish as 1,000 souls synth travel through his body. Legion reverts to Blackheart and dies, the penance stare having once again succeeded. Mephistopheles appears and congratulates Johnny on his achievement. He offers to reclaim the Ghost Rider abilities, but Johnny declines. He resolves to maintain the abilities and utilize them to combat Mephistopheles' wickedness. He is enraged, but he cannot reclaim control by force, and he promises to make Johnny pay. Johnny and Roxanne have a heartfelt farewell, with Johnny vowing to go wherever the road leads him.